Hi, my name is Sophie Dervaux. I am principal bassoon of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. Welcome to IDAGIO Live, where classical music happens. You can tune in every day for chats, masterclasses, performances, and much more from all your favorite classical music artists from all around the world. Tonight, it's about the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, so you can listen to the entire catalog of the Vienna Philharmonic by clicking the link below on the video description here on Adagio, and you will have access to the catalog of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. So today I choose to speak with you about one topic. How is it to be a member of one orchestra? How is it the life in the orchestra? So it all starts with a very strange day, maybe one of the strangest of your life. This is audition day. How does an audition day looks like? Well, you have candidates on a side and a jury on the other one, and the jury has to find the new colleague. How does this work? Well, to have a free position in one orchestra, you need a vacancy. There are no opening without a vacancy because the number of the player in one orchestra is fixed. So for example, at the Vienna Philharmonic, we are 148 musicians. On the bassoon section, we have 6 bassoon players. It's not 7, it's not 5, it's really 6. So you have to wait until a position is free to make an audition. So the orchestra is organizing the audition, and they are announcing the opening. So the candidates are supposed to send their resume, and of course they have to have the skills required to play in the orchestra. How do we choose? Of course, you have a lot of people applying. So a committee will choose the best resumes and invite people to play in front of a jury. The jury is composed of many members of the orchestra. It can also be a committee. It can be even the entire orchestra. It depends on where you apply. At the Vienna Philharmonic, it's a committee of 26 members representing the whole orchestra, from string section, but also woodwind, brass, and percussion. So you have a little bit of everything, judging for the new candidate. The candidates have to play all the same program. Mostly it's 1 or 2 concertos from the repertoire, and we have what we call orchestral excerpts. What are orchestral excerpts? Well, these are really small passages from the symphonic repertoire. It can also be from operas, symphonies, doesn't matter. The only matter is that it has to be really difficult and to show the skills of the musician. So we are expecting a lot of different qualities from an orchestral musician. It can be the intonation, but it can be also the sound, the phrasing, the style, the technique. So all things you have to check on the audition day to see if the people can make it in the orchestra. It's not always about the best playing, but really about the person who fits in the ensemble, because playing in an orchestra, it's not really the same thing as playing as a soloist or as a chamber music. This is really something really particular. Of course, you can be a musician, you can do all the 3 things. It's not exclusive, but everything has its own particularities. So what we expect from an orchestra musician are different skills. We expect someone who can adapt himself or can play with other people together. So it's always a very tricky thing to know what is your place in the orchestra, because we have a conductor, of course, who decides where the music goes, but the conductor cannot show everything. So you have also your own responsibility. What should you do? Are you playing the bass line? Are you playing the melody? Is it, musically speaking, really relevant, or should you be in the background? These are decisions you always have to take, and sometimes really quickly, because the music is always moving. So this is one aspect. You also have to know your colleagues, because the people who are playing next to you well, we are all human, so we are not perfect, and we all play a little bit differently. So some people will play a little bit softer, some people will play a bit louder or sharper or lower, or maybe a little bit earlier, or always a little bit too late. So these are aspects you also have to take in consideration to be a good orchestral musician. But I think the first thing you always have to remember is that you are here to serve the music, and you are only a small part of something really big. So you are here to serve the music, to serve the orchestra, and to make music together with other people to achieve teamwork, to achieve a goal. I like the idea of the German speaking when they say Klangkörper. It's really a sound body. It's made from so many different people all together to just create and achieve one big sound. You have to know, in an orchestra, you have really hierarchical society. So, for example, if you apply for a position, let's say second horn, you will always play second horn. You will not play first or third. Or as a principal bassoonist, I will never play second bassoon. So we require skills from the musician, which are different depending on the position where you are playing. Solo viola, for example, will not need the same qualities as a tutti viola, despite the fact that they play on the same score, exactly the same music. So all of these you have to learn when you come in the orchestra. You can listen a lot of music to learn it, of course, but you can learn from your colleague, and this is about experience to get how to play this. I will show you some examples, because all of this maybe sounds a little bit not really real for you. So I choose to listen to the Fourth Symphony of Beethoven. Why is this symphony? Why? Well, first, because this is a symphony I really like personally, played it many times, but also, well, because this is the last symphony we played before the lockdown. So we were on the middle of the tour in Germany, and suddenly they said to us, okay, we play the last concert and then we will all go home. So it was very strange feeling, really strange atmosphere on the stage, and yeah, that's why I just wanted to listen it with you. So let's start with one excerpt. We will start with the fourth movement, and now I will play something, and I'm sure you will know about what I'm speaking. So let's go. So here is quite obvious what we need from the musician is a really good technique, because it has to be really controlled and really clean. Especially here, you have to think, you have many violinists playing together. So if one is not playing music written, then it will not work. So it is really important to get it really clean. Because I'm a bassoonist, I will let you hear something. So the same phrase on the bassoon. So be careful, because this is really short. So. So this, for example, it's what we call an orchestral excerpt. It's about 3 seconds, maybe 4, so it's really short, and it has to work. So on the audition day, when you have to play it in the front of the jury, it has to work. If it's not working, then you have to go home, and if it's working, then you will play another excerpt, maybe more about the sound, or more about the intonation, more about the phrasing. Let's take the next topic. As an orchestra musician, you have to play with your colleagues together, and it's not only important to have one sound on your own, but you also have to mix with your colleagues, because we have a lot of different colors in one orchestra. One bassoon playing alone has one color, but 2 bassoons playing together, this is a group color. Or one violin alone, it's one color, but the entire section of the violin, it's another color. So of course, as musicians, we can't use the same sound to achieve these different goals. So how do we do this? Well, it's about mixing and know the particularities of the sound of your colleagues and try to play with the same amount of harmonics in the sound to really mix, to have something really common. Let's hear at the end of the movement what's happening here. So you see here, if I ask you how many instruments are playing, well, I couldn't say. I have no idea in the string sections. And this is the goal. We are one from many, and we have to create something really, really beautiful together, but it has to be one entity and not 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. This is something we don't want. We want to create a sound together. So let's hear it again. Okay, here another example what we require from musicians. At the end, for example, we all have a fortissimo written. Fortissimo doesn't mean the same thing depending on the instrument you take. For example, if you ask an oboe player, he will say fortissimo is playing as loud as you can. If you ask a trumpet player, he will not react the same way, because if a trumpet player plays as loud as he can, it will be much louder than an oboe. So it's all really relative, and we all have to know our place in the orchestra and react in function of that. What's not really easy, of course, because when you are on stage, you just hear you and your colleagues, but you have no idea about the result in the whole. So this is a lot of guessing and experience you have to get over the years. So for example, at the end here, some instruments will have to play as loud as they can. Some instruments will have to play quite soft or controlled to just achieve a fortissimo orchestra sound. Here also, we don't want to hear one instrument more and one instrument less. We want to hear one thing. So let's hear it for the last time. Anti-passage. Okay, so this is one orchestra sound. It's not brass plus woodwind plus strings. No, it's one thing, and this is what's so exciting about the orchestra, because we are sitting in the middle of this, and we are just one part of a big sound and global sound. It's quite amazing. Let's go to the beginning of this symphony to show you all the aspects of the skills required from the musician. So let's hear this. Well, doesn't sound difficult, does it? Actually, this is, for the woodwind section at least, the most terrible part of the symphony, the most difficult one. Why? Because it's, first of all, piano. So to play piano and control the sound is quite difficult. Second thing is intonation. We are a lot of instruments playing together, and we have to create a clean intonation. What's not easy. Third, because we have to have one color of the sound and not something really split. How do we do that? Let me just be a little bit technical here. If you take a sound, what is a sound? Sound are vibrations, right? These vibrations are letting us hear different tones, different songs together. We have the fundamental sound, the lowest one, and then we have some of different tones resonating with the same tone. So we have the fundamental, then we have the octave, then we have the quint, then the octave, quint, sept, and it's built like that. To make the intonation of a chord, it's exactly the same thing. We take the fundamental is the most important thing, really, to build a chord, and then we put everything together. So maybe if you had the chance to listen to a rehearsal from the orchestra, when we do the intonation, when we practice it, we ask people who play the octaves first, because these are the most important interval, and then the quint, and then the third. How do we do this? We just take the fundamental sound. So here, in this example, this is a second horn playing a really low B flat, and everybody will come in this color to fit together. But it's really, really hard to know the balance, because depending on which note you play, which function you have in the chord, it will not be the same thing. You will not have to play with the same color or with the same dynamic. So everything is really balanced and really, really difficult. So let's hear it again and really try to imagine how many instruments are playing this chord. It's almost impossible to say. Do you hear 2 clarinets playing? Do you hear 2 bassoon, 2 horns, flute? Really hard to say, and this is what we want to achieve when we are playing, to have one sound, one entity. So let's hear it again. Okay, so quite fascinating to imagine how many instruments are playing and which color putting together are creating a new sound. Of course, when you are going to the concert, you can see and you have more idea of which instrument are playing, but when you listen, it's just guessing. Let's speak about something else. So the timing. You have many instruments playing together. You have one conductor, but it can be amazing, but it can't show everything to everybody. So we also have to breathe together. We also have to understand each other to really be together, to have exactly the same timing, to really come and arrive at the same point at the same moment. So how do you get 16 people playing together or 30 people playing together at the same time? So first of all, the conductor, but sometimes we are split in 2 in the orchestra. So the conductor is with one group and one other group has to play and take care of itself. So for example, here, if I continue in this beginning, you will hear chords playing in the woodwind section and they have to be together. So we try to breathe together to get the same feeling of the pulsation, just to arrive at the same moment at the same time. Let's listen here. It's a little bit later. Okay, so here also it's really difficult, because if you play the flute or the oboe or the horn, it's not reacting the same way. Some instruments have reeds, some instrument doesn't have it, so it's not the same reaction. We always put the tongue at the beginning of the tone. It's not the same reaction and the same reactivity. So some of them will have to anticipate it a little bit more than other people. And all of this has to be really quick just to arrive at the right moment together. Okay, let's take one other movement. So we spoke about technique, about the sound, about being together, about the intonation. Of course, as an orchestral musician, you also have to be sometimes a little bit more solistic or chamber music. So my next example is about starting with one instrument alone. Sorry, again, the bassoonist. And then clarinet playing, and then both instruments together. So you can see it's one bassoon, one clarinet, and the third thing is another thing, but it's not bassoon plus clarinet. It's a new sound created. So let's go to the song movement. Different instrument. And now two instruments, one different color. Okay, so I think you got the idea. So as an orchestral musician, we always have to react really fast and to know really where we are. Is it really important, musically speaking? Am I the melody, or am I just playing chamber music with our colleagues, or am I nothing at all? So always moving. And if a colleague just proposes a new dynamic next to you, then you also have to react. It's not everything about the conductor, but also you have a lot of freedom, so you can really give from yourself. It's really, really exciting. Let's continue this passage, and now you will see one solo instrument. So how does one solo instrument play when he's playing with 40 different other players? Well, the players who are playing the accompaniment, they have to use a sound which is really warm, but with less harmonics. And then if you play with less harmonics in the sound, it will project less, so it will sound softer, and it will let some room for the soloist to play also soft, but in the opposite way, with a lot of harmonics, with a lot of projections. And like this, someone can play really piano and be heard. So like this, the flute is just free and plays and doesn't have to give so much sound, because all the players are just playing and let him, support him to play his solo. It's really, really a team work. So now we had one instrument, just to show you how things can move really fast. Just listen how many instruments are coming and coming and coming, and everything is going to be a big orchestra sound. Yes, so like it. So I hope I helped you a little bit to know a little bit more about what's going inside and on the stage at the moment where we play the music. And I hope you will have, you will want to listen to this amazing symphony. So one of my favorites, and really it's something maybe you could now listen with another approach and imagine what the musicians are thinking when they play, and maybe it will give you more another aspect of the listening of the music. I really invite you to follow the series here on Adagio. We are doing with other musicians of the orchestra every Thursday at 6 p.m. Series. So if you like it, just follow it, and maybe we know a little bit more the member of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. So tune in next Tuesday at 6 p.m. here on Adagio Live, the place where the music happens. Goodbye, and thank you very much for today. All the best.